Season 15 in Destiny 2 is only a few days away as it arrives on Tuesday, the 24th of August 2021. Much of the season is surrounded by mystery, as it looks like Bungie is going to reveal the details on the very same day of release, much like they did last year with Season of Arrivals. So today I'm going to round up everything we know about Season 15 in Destiny 2. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. Well, Bungie doesn't normally keep their cards so close to their chest like this. However, they've done it once before with Season of Arrivals in summer 2020. Well, that was because it was the final season leading up to Beyond Light, and it held story spoilers by unveiling Savathun. So we could get a Season 15 trailer this week, or more likely it's going to be on August the 24th, just before release date. So I imagine we're going to get some information about the Witch Queen expansion. So next week on the 24th, I imagine we're going to get a whole load of information about the Witch Queen expansion, plus Season 15 news, and then it's going to go live shortly after that in a similar way to Arrivals being released last year. Well, we don't have any story details just yet, but you would imagine it's going to act as the bridge from where we are right now to the Witch Queen. So the Witch Queen is due to release in early 2022, so this season is also likely to be a long one, coming in at approximately 5 months. I think that would be the longest season in Destiny history, even longer than Arrivals. But all of that is speculation, and today I'm here to deliver the facts and everything that we currently know about Season 15. Well, let's dive into the details that we know about. So I'm going to start off with Crucible updates. So Trials is going to get a rework to its rewards, and we're also going to find out more about that during the Witch Queen reveal presentation on the 24th of August. So 3 peaking is also going to be fixed in Trials, and for Iron Banner we've got a new pulse rifle, a new sidearm, plus we've got the first new set of Iron Banner armour in years. So no news yet on the mode itself being reworked. That may come later, as it looks like Bungie is focusing on Trials first. Well, next up, let's have a look at the Nightfall update. So we've got 2 new weapons returning from D1, and that includes the Comedian Shotgun and the Hothead Rocket Launcher. And next season, a pair of weapons is going to be on rotation rather than a single weapon each week. So for Grandmaster Nightfalls, all are going to be available at launch of the mode some way into the season rather than the last few weeks. And once you complete a GM, it's going to no longer be available in the rotation. Well, next up, we've got weapon buffs and nerfs. So Scout Rifles, Hand Cannons and Machine Guns are getting a big buff in PvE content. Anarchy is getting a nerf. Fusion Rifles are getting a total rework, and Breach Grenade Launcher and Special Ammo, they're getting a nerf in PvP. Exotic Primary Weapons are getting a buff in PvE, so they're going to be more viable choices in endgame content, and Legendary Stasis Weapons are going to be introduced. So we should find out more about the weapons in tomorrow's This Week at Bungie, so stay tuned to Bungie's Twitter and also the Bungie website, and I'll be back to update you fully on that weapon information. Well, next up, we've got some Sandbox changes, so separate melee actions are being introduced, allowing us to bind melee to specific keys or buttons. And sliding is also getting a nerf, as well as stasis, and there's also a number of class-specific changes. So with Titan, Rally Barricades getting a buff, and Behemoths are also getting a little buff, given that Bungie thinks they got hit too hard in the latest stasis nerf. So Middle Tree Sunbreakers are getting a buff specific to the Throwing Hammer melee ability, and Top and Bottom Tree Striker are getting a buff, and Middle Tree too. And then finally, Top Tree Sentinel is getting a nerf to the Ward of Dawn. Moving on to Hunters, so Revenant Hunters are getting a small buff to the Squall, and also Withering Blade. And Middle Tree Gunslingers are getting a small buff to the Burning Duration, and Top Tree Gunslinger is getting a buff to range. Arc Strider is seeing probably the biggest buff for Hunters, with increased super duration and damage against PvE opponents by 33%. And Middle Tree Night Stalker is getting a nerf to damage reduction, and also DR when invisible. Well, finally, we've got the Warlock changes, so Shade Binders are getting a buff in PvE, and Top Tree Dawnblade is getting a huge nerf and going to be focused more around heat rises. Middle Tree Dawnblade is getting a buff in PvP, making it a more viable option in PvP as it hasn't been since its release, and Bottom Tree Dawnblade is getting a big buff, given it's a very underused subclass. Middle Tree Stormcaller is getting a big nerf, given the damage Chaos Reach has been doing in PvP, and Bottom Tree Stormcaller is getting a big buff, particularly Landfall, where that now shoots out projectiles on cast. And finally, Middle Tree Voidwalker is getting a huge buff, with Nova Walk getting an improvement of 73% on its damage, and Handheld Supernova is getting a 100% increase on damage in PvE content, so definitely look out for that one next season. Well, next up, we got some armour and mod changes. So super regenerated exotics are all getting a nerf as they're going to be capped at regaining 50% of the super. And that includes Shards of Galanor, Ursa Furiosa, Skull of Diam Kara, Phoenix Protocol, Storm Dancer's Brace, and Geomag Stabilizers. Other exotics are getting a rework to make them better, including the Bombardiers, the Graviton Forfeit, Lucky Pants, Precious Scars, Icefall Mantle, Verity's Brow, the Stag, and also Promethean Spur. And in big news, Warmind sales are also being nerfed, given they've been really strong for too long, plus there's a buff to some of the Elemental Well mods. Well, next up, it's Crossplay, and one of the biggest improvements coming in Season 15, unrelated to the gameplay or the story, is that players from all platforms will be able to play with each other for the first time, including PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and also players on Google Stadia. So Bungie is rolling out their uniform Bungie name system, meaning you'll no longer have a unique identifier across different platforms, and PC and console players, they're going to be kept separate via matchmaking unless you specifically opt in via your Fire team, which should nullify some of the mouse and keyboard advantages PC players have. Well, next up, we've got Transmog updates. So Synth Strand is going away, and it's going to cost Glimmer to pick up a bounty from Ada 1. And that's being done to streamline the whole Transmog process. Well, next we got the vendor reputation systems. So Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit vendors are all going to be brought into line with their reputation systems, much like we see at the moment in the game with Lord Shaxx. So it's also going to take less time to get through the ranks, plus you are going to need to get rid of your Vanguard tokens before Season 15 starts, if you want that loot and the materials. And activity streak bonuses are also being introduced too, so if you want to sit in a playlist for a few hours, there's going to be some benefits there. So as I mentioned before, we've got an update this week in the This Week at Bungie, where we're going to go into more detail about the weapons, and I will have an update on that when the information is available. So next week, we're going to find out exactly what's going on in Season 15, including the name, the story, and also, crucially, how long the season is. Personally, I'm really hoping for a dungeon, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the Moments of Triumph, the Dawning, and also the Festival of the Lost 2, given we're going to get a really long season. Well, let me know down in the comments what you're most excited about with Season 15 on the horizon, and personally, I'm really looking forward to Crossplay. Well, that is it for this guide for everything we know about Season 15 in Destiny 2, and as always, thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIVG If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.